Caradalf's Stormmire's journey started in the Isle of Somerset. Living 100 years in this land as a high elf. With all the time he had spent, many of these years were spent with his family and peers fearing him. High elves are very commonly known to excel when it comes to magic, although Caradalf would never learn to wield these magics as a weapon. From an early age, he was humiliated because he simply could never learn to cast even the most basic of spells. While he lacked in his magic abilities, he would soon show those who doubted him the sheer strength he had physically. He was known to wield the greatest of swords, so large that his weight would double and topple the greatest of foes. Even with this impressive strength, his fellow elves would be disgusted that he'd resort to wielding a weapon of such size. Caradalf lived very honorably, claiming himself as a knight and still coming to the defense of his people. One day, his village would be attacked by a pack of giants looking to take over a new home. One by one, he crushed their heads with the end of his sword. From that point on, Caradalf truly knew his own worth and knew he would be best suited away from this land. He would take a boat and travel far, eventually walking upon the land of Skyrim. He was met with a roadblock, and Nords confiscated both all the gear and every coin he had to his name. He would barely survive the journey further inland towards society when he came upon Winterhold, with nothing on him other than thin rags. He'd use his strength to take a job at the local iron mine, breaking down more ore than 10 other men ever could. Once again, he'd be met with no respect, as the mining foreman would explain he didn't have the coin to pay him his dues, right after handing another worker a satchel of gold. Frustrated with this, he'd leave bearing nothing but rags and a pickaxe, ready to make a name for himself and earn the honor, respect of a knight. With Caradalf having spent his time in the last 100 years wielding a sword, he would naturally grow up learning the skills of combat, more specifically, two-handed weapons. Along with being more proficient with two-handed weapons, he would also classify himself as a knight. His time spent in knighthood would mean that he was more proficient with heavy armor, and also even better with his swords. For his birth sign, Caradalf would choose to become a follower of the Lord, meaning his health would regenerate 100% faster. He would also be a bit weaker to fire. Along with being a follower of the Lord, he'd receive a temporary blessing of Kynareth, ensuring he'd have enough stamina for any long battles he would face in his future. The hero was immediately met by the howls of a wolf as he left the depths of his mines. He'd equipped nothing but the rags and pickaxe that he'd brought with him from his mines.
Take this and hold on to it. I'll be back for it later. I'll pay you good. Don't lose it. No time to talk. Snitch or double-cross me and I'll kill you. I mean it.
The strange man had handed him some expensive greaves, and although he considered himself honorable, he knew he'd be a fool
Did
to
you see
hand them
someone
back to
run
the
past just
rightful
now?
owner.
Great.
Yeah, he went
Thanks.
that way.
Bastard stole from me. I'll catch him though. Let's see what you've got.
Caradalf would die just wearing rags out here in the cold. He had to take anything he could get. From the outside, he'd be willing to sew the rags off of his body if it meant he could have the warmth of this inn. He'd been braving the cold for hours now.
Come on in. We got warm food, warm drinks, warm beds.
Hold on. Are you alright? You look like you got a tax shot. I'm not a priestess, but I did with Withershins back in the year 199. Well,
I'm fine.
Good for you. Withershins was a terrible book anyway. The name's Colin. What can I do you for?
Just
Not
wanted to
much of a
talk.
talker. No, Morris, that one's a talker. He won't shut up about his dead wife and the corpse he calls his manhood. Watch yourself around, Morris.
Ah, hello there, traveler. Come to the night.
I'd like to rent a
food or
room.
lodging. Sure thing. It's yours for a day. I'll show you to your room. Right this way.
The strange barkeeper would accompany him to his room, although
Let
he
me
wouldn't
know
leave for
if
quite
there's
some time.
Anything else you need?
He'd sort of just stand, looking away from him creepily. Caradalf would question what the hell this man was doing, but then this other strange woman would come by and stare at him as well briefly. As he'd put the ragged cap on, he really wondered why he wasn't able to see it, until he figured out later that it was just a mod. Same with this helmet. Caradalf would question his humanity. Caradalf was used to getting far less than 6 hours of sleep every day, so this felt wonderful for him. This would activate the Sondheim mod, ensuring he would have to constantly manage his hunger, thirst, and sleep. He figured he might as well take the rest of the stuff inside of the chest in his room. Looking ahead just to see if anybody was watching him steal. It was in his room.
Need a room?
Might as well take
Something
it.
I can get for you?
Felt it was included.
Here.
I'm
take a
looking
look
for
at
work.
this.
Got any
Some
leads?
of the Jarl's men came by and left this bounty letter.
Bounty?
Anything you need, just holler.
He would get to kill evil. He would take a seat and read the letter. By order of Skald, to all able-bodied men and women of the Pill, the band is located in Sweetwater Crossing Camp. Alright. He would journey to Sweetwater Crossing. temperature outside was freezing, although a lot less cold than before. Travel to Sweetwater Crossing was well over 2,000 meters away. It'd be quite a walk, but perhaps he could find himself better gear along the way. Without any hesitation, he would take all the free gear at this shrine as this lady would grieve. Sword. He'd use it to kill those bandits, along with the shield. He figured he might as well talk to the woman, considering he just took all this shit off that shrine.
Oh,
Greetings.
hello, stranger. I'm not in your way, I hope. Don't pay me any mind. I only wish to have a word with RK before I continue on the path.
Alright.
Oh,
Where are you headed?
child. Far, far away from here.
It is time, I think, to leave the rest behind and embrace whatever lies ahead.
What lies ahead? Are you sick or something?
It is difficult to explain. I am sure you have more important things to do. Do you truly wish to know?
Yeah, I do if you wish to tell me.
It is not illness or even madness that ails me, friend, but age. I am old, and it is time for me to move on.
You don't look very old. You want to die?
Yes, I am content to pass on to whatever the gods have in store for me. I may not have lived a warrior's life or followed into priesthood, but we are all worthy of a final rest, whatever that may bring.
Don't you have any loved ones?
My husband,
grandchildren,
he
or
passed
pets?
on no more than a few moons past. Holgar was quite the warrior in his day, but it was not the war or even these troubled times that killed him. It was simply time, and it catches up with us all. My children are strong and healthy with children of their own. They do not need an old and withered soul to distract them. No, I am at peace and ready to meet my end as the
You don't really
gods
look
will
any
it.
older than 30, so I'm a bit confused. When I die, I
There
will
is
not
just
be
as
in a
much to
bed.
be said for those who charge headfirst into the abyss and refuse to lie in wait. It is easy to think that we are invulnerable, that death is glorious, but in truth it merely is. Those we leave behind will grieve in their own way. However you meet your end, stranger, I think you will have lived a life to be proud of, and those who come after you can only follow in your example. Safe journeys to you, and thank you for listening to the words of an old woman well past her time.
The last words of the woman would really resonate with him. He would have to leave behind a legacy of honor as he grabbed the skull off of this random tomb. Surely that was pretty honorable. He'd equip a very well-woven cloak. Bandits. He'd slain hundreds of them on the Isle of Somerset. Surely these guys would be no different. He hadn't used a sword in quite some time now, although he was prepared. With a mighty swing, the four of them would surround him. He'd fall back to find an opportunity for the attack.
All right, you've got over here. We got ourselves a hero. Let's finish it.
A mighty stab had killed his first foe. Ashley thought for some reason it would be a good idea to attack him with her fists.
I fought worse than you.
She wishes for death. Those big powerful blows are tiring.
He continues slashing at the mob, slowly weakening them.
Skyrim belongs to the North.
He had quite a lot of health.
No one bests the North.
I got you like that.
Seeing an opportunity, he'd kill another bandit and roll out of the way.
Claw the eyes out of you.
With that, he'd stab him hard in the back, piercing the shield on him. That would mark the end for this group of bandits. A mighty sword that one would hold. Being proficient in two-handed weapons, he would take anything he could get in that class for now. He was much better wielding a sword with both of his hands rather than a shield with one. He was far too weighed down with all the gear he had just acquired. He figured as a way to move on, he would drop the one thing he used to slave away for days. Pickaxe. He'd quickly move on, leaving that all behind him. He wanted to practice with his new shiny weapon, so he figured he might as well approach this wolf. Would slash through it with no effort, attacking another wolf right after. It was light work for a man like him. Perhaps he could sell their pelts later. He was not about to fuck with all those wolves down there. Might as well kill this goat too while he was at it. Train his skills a little bit. He'd been weak since he even touched a sword. his curiosity, he would enter this random lighthouse to see if it offered any gear for him. He was met with the sight of misery. After years of sailing from Hammerfell to Solstheim and back, Ramadi and I have finally saved enough money to buy that old lighthouse we spot on the coast and are moving into next month. These Nords really know how to live. It may be cold, but you can really beat the tranquility of watching icebergs to live out your silver years. Ramadi loves the inside too, despite the occasional leaky ceiling. Ani and Sudi unfortunately seem miserable here. I know the kids are old enough to strike out on their own, but I hope they'll grow to love the peace and quiet here as I have. Ani and Sudi continue to bicker and harass each other. They seem to have started in their own mother as well. Ramadi keeps finding things missing from the cellar. Studi said she heard a noise down there, but Mani just thinks their mother is going mad from isolation. The very thought of it is ridiculous. She's always wanted to retire here. Studi keeps saying that she hears scratching coming from the cellar at night, like she's just trying to get her mother's goat. But I'd better head into town to get a few traps just in case it's skeever. Should only take a couple days. I just hope those two go easy on Ramadi while I'm gone. Oh gods, why I return home to find my beautiful Ramadi killed in this horrible bug-like thing ransacking her home. Managed to kill the damn thing. It might be a Daedra. I've never seen anything like that. Oh gods, poor Ramadi. Close the door behind me to make sure they don't escape. I don't know if I'll make it out. Seeing this disgusting bug would be what killed her. It'd look a bit like a Daedra. Going through this book would unlock a particular quest for him in the future, as he was strong enough to take it on. I hate it here. Why did we have to move to Skyrim anyways? I miss the big port cities. There always was something to do and new people around. Even being a cabin girl on one of those ships we used to sail would be better than this. Been here for 2 months now and there's nothing to do. From the top of the lighthouse we can see all the way to the College of Winterhold, but Father says that magic is for Daedra worshippers. The only interesting thing to have happened lately is that Mother snapped at us at dinner and accused us of stealing things out of her cellar. I did hear scratching down there the other night. I think it was just a fish or something. Monty won't listen. He thinks I'm just making up the noises and keeps sneaking into the cellar. Oh, why is he so stupid sometimes? I don't know why he keeps going down there, but I found the cellar key he copied and hid in Mother's favorite keepsake so he wouldn't find it. The scratching just keeps getting louder. I had a feeling this entire family had all met a horrible fate. Sudi, I know you've been making up that stuff about the noises in the basement to try to get me to stay, but I'm only waiting till Father gets home so you and Mother are safe. You'd always come and meet me in Hammerfell. Creepily, there's 2 red dots in his HUD. This must have been the bugs that he left locked behind the door. Cellar. Finally did it. We bought the lighthouse. I thought Hab was just making idle promises all these years. I can't find my favorite cooking pot. It's slightly infuriating. Sudi and Mani seems unhappy. They're still young and don't understand that we just want to spend a few more years with them before they leave us to see the world. I know they think their father will live forever, but I see his age creeping into his eyes. He made me promise again that when he died, I would put his bones in the lighthouse fire so he could look out on the ocean forever. Sudi keeps saying she hears something in the basement at night, and Mai suggests it was skiers. They know I hate skiers. I'm too scared to go down there at all. Thought I unpacked my favorite urn and put it safely on the mantle before those two started causing mischief. Cellar key. And a very interesting torch bug that he would decide to take. The enemies would immediately spin in his direction, as if they had wall hacks. They were far too high of a level for him, and he'd quickly topple. Getting killed in one hit, he figured he might as well just come back here another day. Perhaps he could try to unlock this other door beside him. See if it had any treasure inside. Of course, he had reached the top of the lighthouse. Although there wasn't really much of any treasure to be seen, it was a beautiful sight ahead. He didn't spend too much time looking things over. After a rather uneventful walk, he was coming upon the bandit camp he was sent out to. He was ready to bring back the leader's head. Something was immediately wrong. You could hear the clashing of his sword and fighting. It seemed the bandit leader was already occupied with another enemy. He waited beside the tent as he watched them battle, hoping this random stranger would do all the work for him. Now he didn't, so he would go in there and finish the job. Bandit leader would awkwardly walk a little bit before he swung at her again, ending her life. He would look through the riches of the bandit leader's chest, having barely had to do any work himself. Having gotten a shiny new sword, he would check to see if it was any stronger than the one he had now, right after dropping all of his useless equipment. The sword was better against undead, although he knew he wouldn't be killing many of them from now. He would take his greatsword and cut the head off of the bandit leader. He would have never been able to kill her on his own. After walking a bit longer, he would make it to the town of Dawnstar, which is where the Jarl had originally sent out the bounty from. He would approach the Jarl, only to find out that he himself was a ghost and could phase
Unless
through
you're
the
here
floor.
to solve this nightmare problem, I don't
Bandit
need
leader at Sweetwater Camp is dead. I'm here for the bounty.
Excellent. You've done us a great service. Here is your reward.
He wouldn't do much to question why the Jarl was
bother me
phasing through
again,
the floor. He was ready to get more sleep at the inn, especially with the 500 coin he just garnered from his
Can't
bounty.
sleep well no matter how much drink I put in me. Got
Here,
any
have a
ale
drink
or
on me.
mead?
He figured he might as well give him the mead that he found at that lighthouse.
Yeah,
Man
yeah.
wouldn't even thank him for it, though. He'd immediately regret it.
It's a curse. It has to be. I've got to get out of this town.
He'd ignore the crazy woman talking about curses.
Please tell her, Erandur.
Listen to your friend.
Another night's rest. 6 hours just as his last one. He didn't remember the last time he was able to get this much sleep within 2 days. It's time to level up. He would choose to take health over the other 2 stats. He wanted to regain the strength that he once had, so he figured he might as well also put a point in a 2-handed to get a little bit more damage. He would run around and look for a good view as he prepared to write in his journal. My first day out at the mines was a cold one. I was most spent managing the harsh weather of the cold, wearing these damn rags I left in. I walked for about as long as I could. Just as I felt I was close to my freezing death, I saw that inn in the distance. Some thief ran by and gave me iron gauntlets out of the kindness of his heart. I figured it wouldn't hurt to keep them. Far too poor to not accept anything I can, even if stealing is against my honor. The inn was nice, other than the innkeeper and woman who stared at me for a while. Complimentary money back, and items in my personal chest more than made up for this, though. For speaking to the innkeeper, he'd given me a bounty that the Jarl of Dawnstar had put out. My travel to this bounty was a very cold one, and I had to kill a few dirty bandits at the start of it. I came across a strange lighthouse and was quite saddened by the death of a family to these huge bugs. I tried to take out the rest of them. They far outmatched me. We'll come back to finish the job and take revenge for this family. When I got to that bounty, there was already somebody killing my target. Thankfully, they'd weakened them a bit before they died, because I would have stood little chance to the mage I was sent to kill. I got quite a good pay for the head of this lady from the Jarl. As I finished this first page atop a random roof in Dawnstar, my mind wonders on where the land will take me next. One thing is for certain, though, is that I, Caradalf, regain my honor as a knight, which the strength I once had.